afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, King of Kings, Defender of the Faith. Off here to some Shadowverse. Yes, indeed, I did it like over a year ago, but suffice to say, the meta and the Rise of Bahamut was not particularly fun, so I just sort of went on hiatus until things became better, which only so far happened until it well rotated out and we finally began getting good cards again. But here I am nonetheless, back with some Shadowverse, and here with a token mid-range swordcraft deck, which is sort of my favourite type of decks overall. I prefer swordcraft. There's also plenty of other decks in this case. Overall, this deck basically sort of, as the name implies, tries to play heavily, so wide, and sort of take advantage of it, which is for example why I run Perseus, since vulnerability does sort of feature into that. Also have to slightly pull a more aggressive role with it. You got Chromatic Duel, one of the cards added here with the recent Dawnbreak NightEdge expansion. Very solid. Gives you a lot of options. Also protection for your board, which is actually quite important. You got Bladed Hedgehog, Sky Commander Celia, another amazing card. For Soulcraft added this expansion, can be played as a 2-drop, 5-drop, and 2 different roles, which is also what this deck in particular is trying to take advantage of. Is the sort of other half here by playing wide, it can sort of more easily get off her ability to just, storm ahead. Got some wards, got Mars to take advantage again, also the larger number of tokens. Vals, who's just sort of really good tempo removal. Frontline Cavalier, Confront Adversity, which is also another good tempo play in some senses. Luminous Mage for buffs or free evolves. Council of Card Knights, King Arthur. And you got Valfrid and Skyfall to sort of as finishers there to sort of help either take advantage of a large board, but just sort of finish things off. And you also got a White Rich Swordsman to sort of help deal with certain matchups where they like just really play down a really big thing. He can be sort of quite helpful, sort of gaining a bit of tempo in that department. And several other followers can also do a bit of this, like Holy Bear Knight, which can enhance. Which, for those who don't know, is basically you can sort of play it for an extra cost and gain some extra ability. In this case, it just gains more stats, which can be useful. So that's sort of the deck, sort of roughly explained. Sort of expensive. I do try to keep my deck somewhat cheaper. There's always not as easy. In this case, we do end racking up a lot of legendaries compared to we got Arthur's, Skyfortress, Mars, and Celia. I know they didn't really give us a lot of cheaper options to stuff in, sadly. And this might be sort of a continuing trend with side games. I'm a bit afraid with that one. But anyways, off to the fights. And here we are. Up against Forestcraft. Question is it neutral? Is it aggro? Is it something in between? Mid-range? Control? There certainly seems to be a lot of Forestcraft decks going around at the moment, so it's a bit difficult to sort of specifically say what it is at the moment. Though neutral does seem to be slightly dropping off, I imagine there's still plenty of people playing it. But overall, there are also people just playing other variants. So until we sort of really get the first few cards out, it might be difficult to tell. We do have a nice curve here. We got option for Oath's Knight, a Holy Bear Knight, and we got Sky Fortress awaiting at the end. We just need to fill up everything between now and 8. Could be useful. More aggressive deck would use another type of forest decks more like to have a 1-drop, whereas neutral tends not to. In which case I want to go wide to sort of avoid their things. Alright. That was in fact not it. I think I'm just going to go wide. Partly because that's my only real option at the moment. So this means it's either aggro or tempo. Maybe mid-range? I don't think mid-range runs that one, at least sort of not this I've seen. This is sort of more of a tempo tool. Pretty good for it too. So now the question is, well, obviously it's going to trade here. Or maybe not. There are a few options. Could technically remove that with a removal, though they don't tend to run that one as much lately. Then could trade in which case I can just confront adversity and just hit face. So what's going to be? That's an annoying one. That is an annoying one. Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to trade in because that's a really annoying one if it just is allowed to go off, since it gets a free first removal thing. and is pretty tough, and if he bounces back, it's going to be really unpleasant for me. So I'm just going to use this time to just clear that out. Alright. On the other hand, my next turn is so far not looking particularly strong. It's not quite the way I'd like it to. Double mass. My hand is definitely into a few issues here. I'm definitely not drawing the cards I want to right now, which is something to fill the board with, and instead I'm getting the cards that work with filling the boards, which is great, but without stuff to fill the board, it's kind of useless. So, and that just got a lot more Wood of Brambles. An excellent amulet if you really want to run the Swordcraft player's day. Absolutely amazing for that purpose. Well, I got King Arthur. So I got a turn 7 into turn 8 play. This is reasonably strong. And certainly has me able to affect the tempo so much early on, which is really where Forestcraft, if that's kind of deck he's playing, wants to do it. He might have a catch-up pie here, I guess. That would be a pretty good play. Ruin my day. Nope. Starry Elf, another Wood of Brambles. More fairies. Really filling up his hand there. Obviously he's got another one, but most circumstances that shouldn't be a big issue. Behold, Night King Arthur! Wouldn't that just be a regular king? Shut up, Geralt. We don't talk about that. It's just a nice fancy title. Alright. There's got no immediate removal options here. They might have Elf Song, which buffs this entire board with +1/+1. Yup. That's what we call a bit of a nuisance. Not the end of the world either. Since they tend not to run a lot in directly hard removal, I'm just going to buff up the biggest target I can get. That's a really cracking whip sound they got themselves there, by the way. Oh, he down to 6 health. That's pretty good. Oh. Alrighty then. It heals them out a bit, obviously, but in fact allows him to clear it out. On the other hand, it does have the slight disadvantage, for him at least, great advantage for me, is it draws out cards, which, honestly, another reason to go for that one in particular, it draws your stuff. Well, I've certainly got a bunch of options here. I think we'll first throw down Valves, pop a fatal spell bomb through the skull of that, and then we evolve a Luminous Mage to get a free trade. And then another crack at that whip. Yeah. Yggdrasil. That certainly put him more within range of control. Wow, second one. He's going to stall for as long as possible until I bring out some kind of finish, I think. Which could work out reasonably well for him. Reasonably. If not for the fact I got a second Luminous Mage and a Luminous Knight already on board. That also kind of does the trick. Well, it would have, if not for that. Or that! And there we go. Victory. By the hands of Captain Wolfred. Not Wolfred, but Frid. I don't know why. Japanese. There we go. Havencroft. Possibly a less good matchup here for Sword, depending on what's on there. I'm going to keep that one. Could be useful for gaining a bit of early edge with Himera, the White Queen. Also, technically, it would have been, I suppose, more monochromatic duel rather than just chromatic, since that would indicate more than, you know, white or black. Oh, wait. Nothing so far. Globe of the Star Wars ways. Not Star Wars. Whoops. Disney inbound. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Plus we even got an 8. I just need to survive for that long. Gemstone Carapace. Summons a bejeweled tortoise. Well, I got 2 options for turn 4 now. That's pretty handy, depending on what's turning up. Absolutely nothing, in which case I'm just going to confront adversity and just build up my board a bit. I don't want to throw Queen Himera into anything. That'd just be pointless. So there we go. And with this I got a pretty good set of options here for turn 5 depending on what he does. If you Priest of the Cult, just clear some up stuff there, you can just trade a bit in, fail Spell Bomb, and then Queen Himera into the Tortoise. So that's over a pretty good series of options. I could also just White Reach, but that leaves me open to a bit of removal there. And leaves one to go through, which I'd rather not. So there we go. Strike! Down the Tortoise. Summon some knights. We need more troops on the ground. Forwards, men! To glory! Stomping priests in the face like any good king. That's not an amazing hand. Alright, we got Summit Temple. Alrighty. First up, we go for this one. I think I'm just going to play this. Go face. The tricky bit is what I do afterwards. That one sets up a threat to his evolution turn here, which should hopefully allow me just, you know, set up for a much better turn 7. Well, I'm probably going to try and do something with Mars and then Queen Magnus, assuming these two don't get annihilated. Interesting. That's the first I've seen that one utilised like that. Probably a bit of a waste of it. So there we go, that one's out of the way. So, basically Mars, Queen Magnus, do some light trading and all that stuff. I think I'm going to go for the Mars Queen Magnus play. I think it has the highest option of actually having me something on turn 8 to buff it to buff. Which is sort of what I'm looking for. There you go, got that hind down. That sounded like some kind of aircraft going down when it died. It's not going to be much for Alfred to buff, I guess, but better than nothing, I think. Well, I might have to King Arthur after all, which is not what I'm a huge fan of in this situation, but wait, don't tell me he's going to go face. The madman, he did it! The madman! Too bad. No one disrespects the Queen and gets away with it. And Portalcraft. Definitely one of the worst matchups for Swordcraft. This is going to boil down, I think, to a large degree to luck. Either he pulls really poorly or I pull amazingly. Otherwise, this is just going to be very one-sided, I'm afraid. We're going to need the White Queen here to have a chance. Particularly if I can get these two to somehow stick. This is going to be really amazing. It might just allow me to pull sufficiently far ahead not to get drowned in artifacts or puppets. There he decides to toss at me. That's also good. More troops for the front line against the poor puppets. Alrighty. Now the question is what he has in his hand. I hope it's not substitution. Ooh. It wasn't. Praise be. There we go. 4-4 and a 2-2. That's a very strong turn 4 play going first. Very strong. And should definitely heighten the odds of actually not losing horribly against Portal. Puppeteer Strings is going to leave me slightly sad, but even then it's not quite GG. And it still leaves me something on the board. And he's going to have to spend an evolution point on that puppet, meaning while he does clear my board, he has nothing in his own board, so that actually works. That actually works. Luminous Mage. Power up. I mean, I could try and aim for an extra point of damage, but I'd rather aim for something that's a bit harder for him to clear out, which tends to be sort of the better play in a lot of circumstances. Force him to use his resources as inefficiently as possible. Don't worry, they're just puppets with swords. Isn't that bad? Oh, shut up, Lawrence. You're always like that. Isn't that bad? Shut up, Lawrence. Just for once. Oh. This definitely is pointing towards Puppet Portal. He's going to play that. With all that. And strike for 3 damage. Plus, that's a lot of health in just one package. I'm looking at 11, so that's going to be reasonably tricky for him to clear out. Reasonably tricky. Plus, that's a threat he has to deal with as well that can easily clear out any big thing he might throw out. So it's a really sort of strong play as well. It's not something all the mid-range sort decks run, honestly, but personally I like it. Again, it fits the white strategy, and it's just a really good threat. A really good threat should not be taken lightly. Oh, that's an interesting choice here. Interesting. So magical question is, what do I do here? I mean, I've got several options. Obviously, this goes there. The trick is how I deal with these two afterwards. I mean, I could just King Arthur, trade with that one, trade that, and then just sort of set up for the next turn. A couple of owls, shoot, trade, throw down some other stuff, in which case just play down Bladed Hedgehog. Kinda like that option. I kinda like that option. Sets up a threatening board while still preserving options for filling the board up again. Plus, they also represent, you know, sort of the, you know, standard odd pairing team. You know, you got the good old knight, the hedgehog that eats swords, and the cool guy with a gun that's on fire and shoots really powerful bullets. Right, so that's going to get traded in there. I'm just going to Arthur now. Good face here. I don't think he's got a lot of options for clearing out my board, to be honest. Might be. It could probably be very wrong, though. Probably be very wrong. But I do not think so. But it could be. I don't think he's. There's Magna Legacy, but I don't think he's lost enough artifacts for him to be really good. Yeah. He has not. Now I just need a finisher here. Preferably no. There we go. Most of his AoE clears are now pretty much non-functional, but I still need something to finish this off with. I still need something. Oh, that's the rest won't matter. I'm one off. One off. Come on, something. Yeah. Well, it draws me close as opposed to something I might be able to finish this off. Bit risky, but he who dares wins and all that. He who dares wins. But I'm going to need Valkyrie to Sky Fortress soon, otherwise I'm dead in disc. Or see, I don't draw through this. Halfway through my deck, 20 cards to go. I should have a decent chance of pulling Valkyrie or Sky Fortress. Nice crack of the whip there. I can use Whiterich. Buys me some time. I'm gonna save him just in case for something. I don't know why, but there's something that tells me I need to keep him just in case. So now I got a mix of knights, the Night King, and the Whiterich Swordsman standing ready at guard against anything puppet-like. And a few other things as well. Well, the vengeful puppeteers keep throwing the puppets really hard. But without much success beyond that. I think he's dead. There we go. That was brutal, but I think I got somewhat lucky here. It also helped it was Puppet Portal, which again doesn't quite have the same super wave just flooding the board or destroying the board as easily as the regular mid-range one. And I just pulled sufficiently enough to flood the board with. So there we go. Victory for Sword. Just look at how happy he is. That's the face of true swordcraft happiness. So there you go, mid-range token sword. We didn't quite, sadly, ever get to see, Celia pull off this finisher move, but she's quite handy in that regard. Otherwise, I think we sort of saw some of the strength of the deck here, again able to sort of flood the board and sort of use it reasonably effectively, and certainly play out a lot of threats, which your opponent can't always quite, deal with easily, and they don't necessarily always do a lot of damage right away, like Council of Card Knights. You can then allow to build up for more threats down the road, which is sort of how the token sword deck runs. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'm glad to hear that. You can, of course, subscribe or like if you want to. Comments, of course, always feed. What, would you run in this deck instead? I mean, there's always some questions about that. So I know some people aren't, all favored about, for example, Perseus, but that's that. So anyways, see you all another time for another video. Or most likely in this case, 2 days' time, I'll be putting up another video with some other class, some other deck. Cheers, everybody.